We have an epidemic, people. We have an epidemic of the zesty athlete. The zesty athlete has taken over America. This is a tragedy of the highest order. See, once upon a time when I was a young lad, there existed a time where the realm of sports was for men, where men took there and they were able to conquer and beat other men to submission and basically hold over a championship trophy. Now we got the declaration of just Todd Gary and zesty basketball players and zesty football players, and this is only the new breed. This is like the Gen Alpha one of it. And let me explain further. So, like, I've been looking on the interwebs because every once in a while I got to pop my head up. I got business. I'm putting power drill, doing stuff, blah blah blah, so forth. I pop my head up into reality, and I see TikToks like this. And I'm like, who's this guy? Why does he have fingernail polish? Why is his fingernails even painted? And I come to find out, he's actually one of the top basketball players in college basketball. And I'm looking like, okay, hold up a second. Hold up. This is a grown man with painted fingernails. And he's talking about it and bragging about it. Now, most of you guys might be asking, okay, why do you care about a man with painted fingernails? Well, it's not that I care about it. I look at it at a larger, grand scope. Because when I walk out to the grocery store, I see a bunch of weird-ass shit. I see a lot of weird shit when I'm walking around the grocery store. So I walk in the grocery store, I see these guys with these funky haircuts, these weird pants and shoes, painted fingernails. They got earrings. I see a trans dude that has like a hairy chest. And I'm just looking around like, why are these people dressed like this? Why is this even occurring? What occurred in life that made this a possibility in the realm? And when I begin to understand this, I look at it as a biologist. And I say to myself, okay, things don't just happen for no reason. Things are always a symptom of things. So if I see a forest fire, I don't go say, oh my God. First initially is like, okay, forest fire. But then I go, okay, what started the forest fire? That's just my initial thing. What was the origin that started the forest fire? Okay, well, we see a bunch of shrubbery. There's a bunch of shit all over the place. Hot summers, something got ignited, blah, blah, blah. Forest went ablaze. Same thing with humanity. When I see a bunch of people with weird, funky haircuts and they're overly pretty, fingernails polished, and I'm like, okay, why are dudes dressed like this? Why are dudes walking around so zesty with all this fucking woman energy? And so I look at the athletes, I look at the entertainers, because those are the epicenters and those are the stars of America, sadly. We look and we idolize these random people who put a ball in the hoop or people who sing on a microphone. We look at these people and we say, oh my God, these are the future leaders of America. But they're really not. They're performers. They're clowns. They really are top jester clowns. But most people can't decipher reality because most people are dumb because they can't do math. So I look at the principle of the matter. Why is a top basketball player, like I look at the other guy, the Caleb Williams guy, I look at Russell Westbrook, he was wearing a dress, and I try to think to myself, I say, why are these guys dressed like this? Why are they doing this? Why is this a larger epidemic? Why am I noticing all this zest within the man sphere of just dudes don't just walk around with a rugged look no more. Everybody's a fucking zesty motherfucker. And what I come to figure out is we got two reasons. Well, three primary reasons. One, lack of man and masculine figures just in reality. Masculine men just don't exist anymore. Like, we got all these weird, funky, fresh-ass niggas. And what I begin to understand is because the lack of masculine figures on the planet, what kids have now looked as their number one influence in the world is no longer other kids. It's no longer peer pressure. Peer pressure has been dissolved because something has occurred. No, it's a smartphone. No, it's social media. So once upon a time when I was a young lad, when I was a young man and a young lad, there was an old saying called, let the boys be the boys. You know why? Because people understood that the boys will naturally come to their own hierarchy and create a culture of their own that is better than the bullshit culture that we got out in society. And so when I was a young kid, typically the young man or a group of young boys would get together and they would either figure out a hierarchy through games, cunningness, and whatever. And they would become a guy who's the leader. And that leader is the leader not because he's the best fighter, but he's probably the best thinker, has the best ideas. And he can fight a little bit, but he's not the best fighter. It's usually like the guy that he has like fight for him because boys naturally they'll take allegiance to the leader. And so the leader will essentially create a culture. In that culture, there will be certain rules and standards to uphold so we don't fucking just ruin the whole thing. And so anybody that got out of line within that culture will be subjugated to a thing called bullying. And that's what's one of the problems that we lost in America. There's no more bullies. We got motherfuckers who torture people. We have people who have social fucking issues, and they their home issues. They go take it out on other motherfuckers. But when I was a young lad, boys will bully the other fucking weird ass boys so they can get in line. So it's either learn how to be more adopted into our culture so we can be able to operate as a better unit, or get the fuck out the culture. And so since they took bullying out of schools, because mostly now all schools are ran by women now, because women don't appreciate bullying. If you look at women, how they play games, most women's games are basically like social games. They're not really actually like based upon any type of hierarchy. It's just like, oh my God, we're going to play dolls. And we play dolls. And if one girl decides to fuck up the doll thing, everybody shuts down dolls and nobody plays anymore. That's why girls suck. That's why boys are the best. And so what happens is the boys will naturally bully the motherfucker who was like the weird guy who would be the guy. Like this guy, he would get bullied in school. He would get bullied because he's wearing fingernails and was like, why are you wearing fingernails? And his reason for wearing fingernails polish is because I like to bite my nails. And to prevent me from biting my nails, I decided to go, because I was doing self-care, going to get a manicure. Look, I'm a fucking grown-ass nigga. I'm 33 years old. I'll be, I think 77 tomorrow. I've never went to go get a manicure or a pedicure. And it's not to brag or anything like that. It's just I never found the time to say, why am I getting my nails done? Why am I getting my fingernails done? Should they probably get done? Yes. But I'll go do that shit with my wife. I'm not going to go do it solo. That's a fucking weird thing to do by yourself as a man, to go do it solo. But once again, we got boys who are now growing to men. They're pretty ass niggas like this motherfucker who go to manicure shops and they go get their nails done like a female. That's what girls do. So I digress. A guy like him would get bullied relentlessly because they would say, why are you painting your fingernails? Well, because I like to bite my nails, and so to prevent myself from biting my nails, I got my fingernails painted. And some smart boy would say, nigga, why don't you just get your nails painted like nude, or just put like some type of nasty thing on it so whenever you bite it, it tastes like shit, so you be normal like the rest of us. Why are you fucking painting your fingernails? But because women run schools now, women say, oh my God, you gotta embrace your differences and your uniqueness and all. And no, that's not the type of shit you embrace. So we got to start separating weird culture shit that's weird to people and things that are just quirky about yourself. Like I wear Naruto headbands and anime gear because it represents a greater thing. It represents a culture. If you go and watch the stories, it represents a theme, a masculinity, bravado. It represents a story of revenge, fellowship, your town, community. All these things represent something. That shit don't represent nothing. That's about selfishness. That's about weird ass selfishness. And I bet this nigga doesn't have a dad in his life, because he had a dad in his life. His dad would say, nigga, what are you doing? Why are you painting your fingernails? Because any father would look at that and say, nigga, why are you painting your fingernails? Because if I'm a father, I see my boy start painting his fingernails, I would say, sir, please explain to me why you painting your fingernails. And it better because your sister fucking talked you into this dumb shit. That's another separate topic about why older sisters are worse for boys. It's always better to have two boys back to back in the beginning. Then the rest of the order kind of doesn't matter after that. But if you get two boys in the beginning, you've been blessed by God. Side note. So a young nigga like him, he would get bullied. But since they took bullying out of school, and also because kids don't even interact anymore because they all sit on their phones all day, social media has now become the father figure for most niggas. And if you look at social media, what's the number one thing on social media? Girls. You know why girls are the number one thing for social media? Because there's more girls on the planet than dudes. And you know why that girls use social media more? Because most girls don't have a father figure. It all comes down to the father figure. There's a father figure in the house that a woman respects, then she will listen and try to obey and try to appease the father figure of her life. So it's supposed to go from like your father to your husband. This is a whole side note of something else different. So this weird ass nigga, him and Caleb Williams, all these little zesty motherfuckers, they go on social media and they get admiration because most of it is girls. Like, there ain't no dudes. There might be some gay dudes that like it. And that's a whole other side note. Like, I ain't got nothing but gay dudes, but when I say top gayness, I mean just a certain idea where you try to appease to the social culture of the world and social media as opposed to just appeasing yourself. Because I can promise you, he ain't doing that for himself. Because if he was really doing it for himself, he wouldn't be painting them blue and white. He paints them blue and white because he wants to be accepted by Duke. And because girls in Duke are like, oh my God, look at he's so pretty. He puts a ball in the... And most, to be honest with you, most of the girls don't even know he puts a ball in the hoop. Most girls, when they watch the sports, they don't even understand, really. They really don't. They just like that he gets a bunch of claps and loud, and he's a pretty nigga and he's a tall nigga. And most of you niggas are going to say, oh yeah, you're Joe's nigga. No, I'm going to say this nigga's a weirdo. Because back when I was a young kid, that's what I would tell him. I would say, you're a fucking weirdo. If you transport me into his body back to when I was 12, I would call this nigga a weirdo. Because why are you painting your fingernails? I'm painting my fingernails because I like to bite my nails, so this keeps me from biting my nails. Well, nigga, why don't you just paint them nude? And then you hear some other guys go, well, Chuck Liddell painted his fingernails black. That's a separate topic. Chuck Liddell kept breaking his fucking fingernails and his toes and during fights, so he realized if he paints his fucking fingernails, they don't break as easy because there's a coating. That's why he painted his fingernails black and whatever the hell. So to keep his fingernails from breaking. This nigga ain't doing that for breaking. He ain't breaking nothing in basketball. He just likes to be a pretty ass nigga. And that's the problem. We got a bunch of zesty motherfuckers because a lot of these niggas come from single mother raised households. And when we say single mother, we got to clarify. Single mother does not mean that you're just a single mom. Single mom means that you do not have a father in the boy's life. Not that you got divorced or not that you were widowed. You had some fugazi ass relationship and now you're out here single mama. So this nigga likely raised by his mama, because what happens when you're in a single raised mama household is the boys end up becoming more feminine because the woman pretty much tries to take on the role of the man and the woman. Or primarily the man. So she has become the primary breadwinner. She's taking care of all the shit in the house. And so the daughters become more masculine because they emulate the mom, and the boys become more feminine because they see their mom and they think, okay, I should be the feminine one because my mom's the masculine one. And that's why a lot of people in the black culture are all fucked up. And that's why gangs are such a fucking terrible thing in the black culture, because most of these boys, they have no father figure. So when they look for the leadership and the guidance of the man, the only person they see is the dope dealer, the nigga from prison, or athletes. And so they got to choose one of the three. Dope dealer, prison nigga, athlete. And athlete seems to be the best one. And what you see is you got a bunch of single mother raised athletes that they're becoming the influence and the impactful culture figures for niggas like this guy, who are now out there painting their fingernails, and now we got a bunch of zesty ass motherfuckers walking around. And this is reality, man. This is what we are. When I go into the grocery store and I look around, I try to understand this shit. I'm like, why are all these girls dating these fucking dudes that don't look like dudes? Why is this occurring? I'm so confused. I don't understand. It's like vivid. Like I can't unsee it now. And so I'm walking around as a masculine dude. I can't keep it straight. I get ghosted all day. And what I begin to understand is everybody's fucking locked into their phones. Everybody thinks their reality is a phone. So people live reality, and they take the reality and they put it into a phone to make snapshots to show that, oh, my life is great because I live through a phone. I have a bunch of followers. Meanwhile, they're down bound in reality. But here's the difference. I'm living good in reality, and my social media is slowly starting to climb. And you know why? Because the truth will always prevail. The light will always be here. So stop being zesty. Stop supporting weird shit like this, because the more you keep supporting weird shit like this, the more it's going to propagate. And we're going to keep getting more zesty athletes. And eventually, we're going to have niggas just start dressing in pink and wearing fucking gay bandanas and just walking around with like halter tops. But they kind of already do that now. If you look at the NBA, like wardrobe people, oh, it's a travesty. It's a fucking travesty. But that's a separate topic for another day. Appreciate y'all for listening.